I never told my wife that I am the anonymous investor with $10 billion worth of shares in her father. Not because I wanted to hide it from her, but because I wanted our love to be real, untarnished by money, influence, or power. I wanted her to love me, not the man who could buy her entire world in a heartbeat. I remember the night it all began to unravel. My phone buzzed while we were having dinner. A message from an unknown number. "We know what you did." I froze. The room felt suddenly smaller, the warm candlelight sharp against my chest. I thought it was a prank at first. My mind tried to rationalize, maybe spam, maybe a mistake. But the tone, it was deliberate, threatening. Over the next few days, subtle things started happening. She would leave the room when my calls came through, or brush off questions about where she had been. The excuses felt rehearsed, almost fragile. Once, I noticed her phone screen light up while she pretended to sleep. I don't know why, but I felt a pang of suspicion, a shadow where trust used to live. I began questioning myself. Was I imagining it? Was my paranoia ruining our marriage? But the unease wouldn't leave. I started noticing patterns, her sudden phone locks, hushed tones, and an almost compulsive need to delete messages. I hated the thought creeping in that I wasn't the man she was confiding in anymore. Then one quiet Saturday morning it happened. I was clearing the living room and her laptop was left open. She had stepped into the kitchen. Curiosity and a silent, gnawing fear pulled me toward the screen. The messages were there. Hundreds of them, time-stamped over weeks, conversations filled with intimacy and secrets. And the worst part, they were not just casual flirtations. She was sharing confidential information about her father's business, information that could compromise everything I had worked for. My heart sank, my hands trembled. The betrayal wasn't loud. It wasn't cinematic. It was quiet, insidious, and suffocating. Every memory we shared, the late-night talks, the laughter, the quiet Sunday mornings, suddenly felt like a carefully constructed lie. The way she had looked at me, smiled at me, even touched my hand, all filtered through a lens I hadn't known existed. I didn't confront her immediately. Part of me wanted to, but another part wanted to understand. I had loved her in a way that left me vulnerable, and now that vulnerability was the knife twisting in my chest. I replayed our conversations, her words, my reassurances. Was I blind? Was I too naive to see the cracks forming beneath our perfect veneer? Finally, the confrontation became unavoidable. She walked in while I sat in the living room, laptop closed but evidence still heavy in my mind. "We need to talk," I said, my voice steady, though my chest was on fire. Her eyes darted away and I saw guilt, or maybe fear. She started, but I cut her off gently but firmly. I know everything." She sank into the couch beside me, the weight of shame visible in every slumped movement. She explained, fumbling, rationalizing, apologizing. She didn't want to hurt me, she said. She didn't know how to reconcile her loyalty to her father with her love for me. But the explanation couldn't erase the betrayal. It couldn't untangle the web of secrets she had spun around herself, around us. I stayed silent for a long time, listening to her sobs and half-apologies. My love for her battled with my anger, with my heartbreak. I thought of all the nights I had spent imagining our future, only to realize that our foundation had been built on omissions. When I finally spoke, it was calm. "I loved you with everything I had. And now I have to love myself enough to walk away." She reached for my hand, but I let it slip past mine. I turned, not with rage but with quiet sorrow. There was no shouting, no slamming doors, only the aching understanding that some things, once broken, can never be restored. As I stepped out into the cold evening air, I felt a strange clarity. The betrayal had carved a hollow space in me. Yes, but it also gave me strength. I would rebuild slowly on my terms. I would trust again, but differently. And one day I might forgive her. Not for her, but for me, so that I could move forward without the weight of bitterness. I never told her I was the investor in her father's empire. Perhaps in some way that truth would have made her betrayal even heavier. I carried that secret quietly like a shield, reminding myself that love must always be anchored in honesty, even if it means facing heartbreak, even if it means walking away. And that night, as the city lights flickered below, I realized something important. Some endings are not just inevitable. They are necessary for the life you're meant to reclaim.